You are welcome to this training session. My name is Engineer Eng Gilmore. Today we'll be talking on health, safety, and environment as it regards to our workplace. We're going to be looking at some standards relating to occupational safety and health. Now, one of the things we are going to talk about today, or emphasis, is going to be rules and regulations. So, at the end of our training session, we should be able to comply with all trainings, all regulations and rules as regards our construction environment, or as we meet in our engineering environment. Now, first we are going to talk about the provision and use of work equipment regulations. We're going to talk about health and safety at work act regulations, and then we're going to look at control of substances hazardous to health regulations. But today we will look at provision and use of works equipment regulations. These other regulations I've mentioned, we check it up on our online materials to be available for you. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about provision and use of work equipment regulations. One of the provisions, or one of the rules that guides us as we do our work in a work environment is that we must wear our PPE, that is personal protective equipment. And as regards our personal protective equipment, there is a section of Occupational Safety and Health Association that deals with that, and that is Standard 1910 Subpart I. The Subpart I tells you that you must wear your clean, smart, and appropriate personal protective equipment. 1. 2. We must comply with our health and safety and other relevant regulations as it relates to the training that you receive before you start your work. Every staff, every worker that wants to go into the construction or engineering environment is expected to receive training, and this training he or she is supposed to comply with fully as regards safety. Now, another point, as a staff or as a worker in a construction or engineering environment, is that you are mandated to report illnesses and infections promptly to the appropriate persons, and that falls under reporting of injuries, disease, and dangerous occurrences regulation. One of the provisions of the regulations is that as a staff or a worker in an engineering environment, the responsibility is on you to report illness and infections promptly to the appropriate persons. Now, this rider is a provision amended in 2013, and it is, like I said, the responsibility on all workers in engineering or construction environment to report illnesses and infections to the appropriate person. Now, one other provision is that if there are injuries, wounds, we should be able to determine which of these injuries and wounds that can be treated by the appropriate persons immediately. Whether injuries are minor, we should be able to determine that and report to the appropriate person immediately. Now, there are instances that injuries that will lead to unconsciousness, that will require resuscitation or admittances to hospital. You are supposed to report them immediately to your supervisor. Now, another responsibility that is on the employee is that he should be able to determine when he is had enough training or has enough knowledge or has experience and is properly supervised on using PPE, personal protective equipment, before he starts his job. That is a provision of the Act. It's a regulation, subsection 3(2)(a) of the 1910 regulation I had mentioned before. Now, the workers are supposed to know whether they have been properly trained, whether they have a required knowledge, whether they have the required experience or supervision before they proceed to work. Now, we have given this information, and a lot is on our course material that is online. For further information, for further reading and digressing, please refer to our materials that is online. Thank you very much. Once again, I remain Engineer Eng Gilmore.